Welcome to Future Hidden Movie Gems. My name is Jordan. Yeah, bruh. Cameron,
Bruv?
my co-host.
We gotta catch them all, bro.
Hey,
Calm
it's
down, Biggs. This ain't Pokemon.
bruv. Yeah, that's right. Dang it, that was a good one. I like that one. And then we also got Grant.
This is for Pogo. Rest in peace, dog.
For real, dude. R.I.P. Pogo.
I know, he died so quick.
Gone too soon. Gone but never forgotten.
Yeah.
So in case you don't know, we're talking about Attack the Block, bruv. And then it was produced by our boy Edgar Wright. That's why it's so freaking good. Oh my gosh. And then
I didn't know that he produced it because I was like, it's funny when I was describing it to Drew, I told him, I was like, it's kind of like almost like Edgar Wright-ish.
yes, it feels very much like one of his films. Yeah, it's
Is
a very
he
Hot Fuzz,
Shaun of the Dead?
Shaun of the
Okay.
Dead. Yeah.
But they use that same guy, the weed guy.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Who, Ron?
Like,
Or I don't remember his name. But...
Yeah, he's like, what's Ron's weed room? It's a big room full of weed, and it's Ron's.
yeah, his name's Nick Frost. He is so funny.
Okay.
Yeah. Directed by Joe Cornish. I'm not familiar with his other work, but it seems like he's helped with the screenplay of Ant-Man, which I guess he worked with Edgar Wright again with that, so that makes a lot of sense. And then of course
he also wrote like Tintin.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, and then it's got the guy from Star Wars.
John Boyega.
You think I
He's so
should know his
young
name
in
by now?
this.
I know. Yeah.
And it's also got our dude from Legends of Tomorrow, Grant. I don't know if you recognized him.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Franz Drame, Dennis. The kid who
Yeah.
gets his head blown off. Goodness gracious.
What like when he was wearing the helmet and it was like eating his helmet?
Yeah, and it's like
and his helmet went like flew across the room. All right. Yeah, let's get into this movie. I really enjoyed this movie. Cameron, what was it like watching it for the first time and then rewatching it?
So the first time I watched it, pretty sure it was back in high school with Jordan. And I just remember him like trying to describe the movie to me. He's just like, it's gangsters meets aliens. And I was like, what the fudge? Really enjoyed it back then. And I even have like more appreciation for it now. So rewatching for the pod, I was like semi nervous because I'm like, I remember it being really fun, and plus I was showing Drew, and I knew it was like semi small budget. I mean, it was still like $8 million budget, which is super sad because it was only $4 million box office. So they lost money on this project. I was like, I think it just came out at the wrong time. But yeah, I like rewatching it. I have even more appreciation for it, and I just think like the character development in this is just so good. It's one of those things where it's kind of like the Game of Thrones where it feels very real because people are dying. Like the dog, you're like, oh, the dog will make it out, and you're like, oh, fetch, the dog's actually dead. I was like expecting like a re-entrance of the dog like the whole time, or like the guy, but that's what added kind of like the suspense and the realness to it. Of you're like, oh crap, like people actually are dying. So yeah, I loved on the rewatch.
Yeah. What about you, Grant?
Well, I've seen it once, and it was an enjoyable watch. So,
all right,
it's definitely recommendable.
Okay. Pretty
funny.
Yeah. First time I came across this, it was on somebody's top 100 list of like either underrated films or I can't remember. Maybe it was a Watch Mojo, like top 10, maybe alien invasion movies or something. And then after I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the premise is pretty ingenious. Like, I just remember Cameron saying that right at the beginning. He's like, oh yes, he landed in the wrong neighborhood. Like, that's what the kids kept saying, which is such a clever
Run
premise.
this block, bro.
It's so fun. Like, because already in kind of a dangerous area. And I love the girl even says they're monsters as they're carrying the monster like on his back. It's such a great cut because it's like, oh yeah, who is the real monster here, you know? And
it's true.
So I absolutely loved it the first time I watched it, and I was worried that I wouldn't like it as much, but I enjoyed it just as much. And I think one of the characters in the movie said it really well when they're in the weed room looking at the monster, and he's like, "That's an awesome puppet," and like I'm so glad they used practical effects because it looks so cool.
So
I wonder if
good.
they touched up to make it like so dark, like if they actually had that kind of fur, because that
Yeah,
looks
because
so
it
cool.
almost
Oh yeah,
looks like CGI'd because it's just so black. It's
Yeah.
insane.
I wonder if they
yeah.
used some
Like it
touch
doesn't
up.
like reflect any like light. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder they had to have used, I think, puppets because they look so legit. I don't know. Maybe there was all CGI. I don't know. I wish I looked into that, but I definitely know they had some puppetry because oh, practical effects, so good. Okay. Let's see. And then two favorite parts, Cameron.
I mean, definitely my first favorite like thing is I love like the accent and just the interactions with the kids, and you could even see it from like what's their name, Haven and what's his nickname? You know, I'm talking about the two little kids with the squirt bottle or with
Oh
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah.
water gun. He's like, "We're Maven and Mayhem." Yeah, that's what. Or he was like something like that, and I like you can just see like all of them. I feel like that's like a type of kid you would find like actually on the street. Because a lot of times when they try it, like sometimes they try too hard, or it's like okay, no kid actually acts like that. But a lot of the things is like really real. I love how they're like, let's go f it up, and they get there, and then like that one's a lot bigger than the one we killed. Let's get the fudge out of here. And
Yeah.
I just thought like their interactions and those characters were really fun. Um, I also think something that added a lot of suspense was just kind of like um, I know Jordan loves it when I say it, like how realistic. I just really appreciate when people are running away and they don't just do everything perfect. And like the fact that the
Like
amount of
they don't
times they
land
fell down
everything.
on them, yeah, on the
Yeah.
moped and fell over, and he's like, "I'm fine, I should get up." Like I think that is just like much more realistic, 'cause especially like all those times like the people are riding like a bike or something and like swerving through things and perfectly dodging everything and never falling down, and also have never having casualties. So that's what I loved is that there was casualties because then it added just more to the suspense of you're like, oh, dude, run, freaking run, and
I
like
forgot there
the
was casualties. I mean, I
me
knew
too.
I knew there was the villain or whatever.
He gets his
Oh yeah,
face ripped off.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was like the only cheesy part of the movie.
But I totally forgotten about the kid where his helmet like flies across the room. It's probably because they didn't show him die. So, I mean, you
Yeah.
do see his helmet. I don't know if his head was in the helmet, but
I also like when the kid got bit in the leg. Like I thought that was like
yes.
good. 'Cause a lot of times like, oh, I just barely got away, but it's like this
Yeah.
fucking thing bit through the cage, and like obviously he's gonna get his leg. He's like, he's like hitting it with the bat.
Yeah, and who knows if he didn't die later on from like radiation or some infection
Yeah,
from
or
like
infection.
who knows
Yeah,
what aliens
Yeah.
are carrying.
All right.
true.
Um, what did you say two already?
Too. Yeah.
All right, Grant.
Okay. Yeah. What Cameron's still one of mine, but another one that I had was I like how small scale it is that it keeps it just to this block. Like alien movies tend to just like go grand scale, like either the whole country or the whole like world, right? Is being attacked. But I like kind of this smaller scale. This makes it more like you don't have to get too crazy with the plot because I feel like when you go too broad, it's like just a lot of plot holes happen. But like,
Mhm.
and you just keep it smaller scale, it's a lot easier to manage. So I really appreciated that part. And then I think my second favorite thing about this movie was like they skip the whole denial phase. Like they just go straight from, is it a monkey? No, okay, it's got to be an alien then. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
and like, and then they're just like totally on board with it. They're like, yeah, these are aliens. Like, it's an alien invasion. You gotta like, go out and kill them all. Like, I don't know. It's just really funny that they just like jump straight to that. So it just gets right into the movie, I think, instead of like stalling with all the like denial stuff. People are like, no, it's not happening, and then that gets people killed. So
Yeah, I especially love when there's like already like a villain, and then there's like, beyond like the creatures, there's other conflicts going on, and so it just kind of heightens that tension because you're like, oh crap, like who's worse here? Is it this guy waving a gun like a
Right.
maniac, or
Yeah.
is it the aliens? So I mean, Walking Dead's a great example of just like the people being more dangerous than the zombies themselves. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
um yeah, I think nitpicks.
What's your two favorite things?
Oh yeah. I guess I kind of already mentioned it. Like Edgar Wright, I think he should produce more things. I think when he touches things, like he just enhances them. I thought this film was so good, and um, I, I mean, I also mentioned the practical effects. Like I'm a total sucker for that stuff. I just watched Maniac 2 today, or Maniac Cop today, and it's jam packed. It's an hour and a half of pure practical effects and stunts. It's amazing. So I'm all about that. And I thought this is definitely up there. It's definitely on a top 100 list of something. Not my top 100 like favorite of all time, but definitely of like, well, easily of alien invasion shows, maybe even top 10. So, because
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about alien invasion shows. Okay, Arrival's a masterpiece. Never mind.
Hey, it can still be
Just because
top
you
10.
like one doesn't mean you have to be obsessed
In
about
terms of,
all of
oh,
them.
no chance.
Well, I know I'm saying that now, but then I'm sure I look at a list and I'm like, oh crap, there's a ton. Like, well, for example, like
Oh, that's
Invasions of
fair.
Body Snatchers, and I'm thinking of Edgar Wright's other At World's End.
This is
Like,
better than At World's End.
yeah, exactly. I think this is so good. Like, this is well, and this is what I wanted because there's Leprechaun Boys in the Hood part 1 and 2, and this is what I wanted that movie to be. Like the premise sounds so good on paper. It's like, are you kidding me? A villain in the hood? Yes, please. And so you think it would be like super fun, but it's just cheesy and bad. Those other two movies, the Leprechaun ones. This is how you do it. This movie did it right.
Yeah. And I mean, this just adds to my list of like English gangster movies that I love. Like, holy cow, they really know how to do them. Like, just reminds me a lot of Snatch and The Gentleman.
Yes.
Just the way they talk, it's just like these are kid versions of that. And I just love the characters in this. I just think it adds so much to it, and I think it's so awesome also to show the dynamics, and also just show how multidimensional characters can be in so little backstory. Like so
Yes.
little backstory about each of the kids, but like in snippets of when they come home, how they interact with their parents, you can just
Yes.
like exactly
Yeah.
what his home life is like. Like the one kid, I promise, mom, it'll be 10 minutes. And she's like, you promise? And he's like, I swear, mom. And he dips.
And then the
he's
other
like,
kid like walks in. The mom's like, "He's like, where are you going?" He's like, "I'm out." He's like, "Don't get into trouble." He's like, "I never do." Whatever.
yeah. And he's so smart to walk in with a limp. So when he puts the bat
Why are you
in,
limping? Oh, football.
football.
That's right.
But yeah, I just think it's like things like that. Like that's so impressive, and that's what a lot of films will spend 30 minutes trying. They would like the first 30 minutes of the film would be building up those backstories, and he can do it in a 2.5 minute like segment of just showing these kids running into their apartments to grab weapons.
I think that was my favorite scene, like getting the battle gear
Yes.
stuff together. That was really good.
And
Yeah.
I love it too because they get all the battle gear just to run away from the first one because they're like, "Hey, bro, that's a way bigger than the one we killed." And see, and just like Grant mentioned, keeping it small scale as well, like it, like that, it avoided so many plot holes, and that's why I loved where it's like, why are these things only going for like this crew of kids? And it's like, oh my gosh, this is why. It's because they fucking
The
have the
pheromones.
pheromones
Yeah.
all over them. And I
It's like,
love
you better take off your clothes. It's like, you
you
fancy
fancy
him.
him. Yeah.
What, you want to see him naked?
Like, and that's what I love too, is I love like the human dynamic even in like apocalyptic or like apocalyptic-esque like scenario, is because people are still like the chick's pissed because she's like, screw you kids freaking mugged me earlier. And he's like, help my leg, lady, come on. He's like, you're a nurse. He's like, don't take your anger out on me.
I love that interaction too, though, because she's like, the one guy's like, oh, like you have a really nice flat here. She's like, oh, thanks. She's like, I think I'm thinking about moving. He's like, why? He's like, I don't like the area. The guy's like, why don't you like the area?
Because of mother
Like, because he
effers like
just mugged
you.
her like 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
No, yeah. Those like I just think there's so many good things about that I was just like, this is perfectly well crafted.
Yeah, well, and Boyega had a great arc when he gave her back the ring. And then I loved when they were yelling his name Moses at the end. Did any of you guys think of like Moses in the Ten Commandments when he's like part of the sea and all the people are going, Moses, Moses?
Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
No, but that's pretty funny. No, but I did really like his arc too, and I liked how also he's like, no, he's like, I brought this thing in here. I gotta like, I'm gonna take him out.
And then that slow-mo run. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome.
Yeah,
I
that was
felt
sick.
yeah, I was like, oh, this is so sick. Just like that kid. He's like, what did he say? He's like, I'm terrified and I feel like I'm gonna crap myself, but you gotta admit,
At the same
this is-
time,
It's like at the same time, this is sick.
yeah.
and
There's
then
a lot of good quotes.
yeah, it's a perfect intro to just like you mentioned earlier, Cameron, just show a little tiny alien, and then all of a sudden like tons more come out of the sky, and you're thinking, oh, they can easily take these things if they're all those little tiny one. And then that they're like these giant gorilla looking things with the glowing teeth. I love when they die too. They're like the colors fade out of their teeth. It's such a great choice. I feel like there's so many little choices in this film that I'm like, yes, they made the right one. Like
Absolutely. And I love too like the different scenes like with the cops. I love the like the unknowing third parties that like are harmed by like unawareness. Like I love how they're arresting them and they're like, did you see that? Same thing with the guy who like pulls the gun on him, the rapper, and then he's like, hey, go check it out. And he's like, I'm not checking that out. And he's like, you want to die too? And he's like, okay.
I
Like,
love
oh,
too, like even when Moses is being arrested, like I feel like he stays true to his character, that he's not like, look out, like he hates the cops, and so he literally just says, get me in the van as quick as you can. Like he doesn't like warn them or anything. Like he just wants to get away from what he knows is coming, you know.
Yeah.
And
So
I love a good elevator scene. And when the guy comes out and he's covered in blood, yes.
and the guy's like, think you better
I'll
take
just
the
get
next
the
one,
next
blood.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love it too when he's arguing with the guy and like the white kid comes up to him. He's like, "You think I'm gonna believe this?" He's like, "If we were lying to you, don't you think we would come up with a better story?"
Yes.
Like, do you think we do something other than, he's like, say it, how dare you?
Yeah, he's like,
Like trying to get him to say aliens.
monsters, the gorillas.
Um, I mean, there's lots of little choices I've already mentioned, but like even the kids with the water gun, turns out it's filled with gasoline. Yes.
It's not water, and you're like, okay, where? And then it's gasoline. I also love the use of like fireworks. I thought that like those gave for some really cool visuals.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And well, at a time too where I love back in the day when they had the flip phones and then you had a certain amount of minutes or text.
Yeah, he's like, that's too much to
genius.
explain in one text.
Yes.
We're like, what?
Or I love when he's trying to explain it to his cousin. She's like, call me back when you're done playing Xbox.
Yeah. You're talking too fast. I love how she's like passing the phone. You can like vaguely hear what they're saying. She's like, can you understand what he's saying? No. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I thought like that was really good.
Any final thoughts or any nitpicks? I thought it was a solid film. I didn't have any problems with it.
I really liked kind of the less is more with how the aliens looked, like sticking with just glowing teeth and a very like silhouette kind of look.
Well,
Like,
and I love when they open their mouth and there's like teeth on the inside. There's like layers of it. That's so cool looking.
And I like too that first reveal of like, are those eyes? And he's like, I don't think those are eyes. And then it like opens up more. Like that was really good. Yeah. Because like I feel like when you try it, because like I mean it was fine with that first alien that he killed. It just looked super ugly. And like I just feel like movies nowadays, like they show so much detail that it looks so fake, and it kind of just like, okay. But like kind of this having this ominous like just I don't know, just the way the aliens looked like was really
Well, and just
refreshing.
kind of like what you're talking about, Grant. That's what I like is they played really well into that. Is because it was so detailed. It looked fake. Everyone's like, "Hey, where'd you get this doll, bro?"
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like
Yeah.
you're like, "No, we actually fucking killed this thing." And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure, okay, cool. You killed an
Uh-huh.
alien. Nice one.
Yeah.
But honestly, like my only nitpick that I could think of, um, is like also kind of something I like about it is like I want more,
Yeah,
which is like
that's
it's
always a
really
good
good.
sign. Yeah, when you
When
want
I'm like,
more,
oh, I
that
want a
that
sequel, but I don't want a sequel.
yeah. I know, right? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, this like deserves a sequel, but I don't.
They would butcher it 100%.
Yeah, unless it was made by the same people, maybe.
Well, that's what blows my mind. Me and Drew were talking about it. It's because I watched it with Drew last night, and we were just talking about how like we don't understand how it didn't do well in the box office. Like, I'm like, how? Because I'm pretty sure it said like opening weekend or whatever only had like $170,000.
Hmm,
I'm
dang.
like,
Ouch.
Dang.
such a Marvel garbage. Like Black Widow's getting millions of dollars. I'm like, what the heck?
And Scarlett Johansson is still complaining about it and suing Disney.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
like,
because they put it on Disney before
Yeah,
they said they would or whatever.
yeah.
because like stuff like that, and then I'm like, but then fetching Attack the Block can't get 5 million in revenue. I'm like, what is wrong with this world?
I know, right? You know, it's
Just
the
a
end of the
bunch of
world.
yum trash eaters, man. Bunch of garbage disposal from
Well, I just
fucking
wanted
Rick
to
and
add
Morty.
to something you said, Cameron. You noticed that the characters, like there were so few and chasing because of the pheromones. But I love how contained it is. Like this movie doesn't say there's a giant beam coming from the sky and the whole world's gonna blow up, or you
Yeah.
know, or it's like, or all of England they didn't show the clock tower and it wasn't gonna explode. Like they kept it very contained just to the block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
because they're
and
attacking
doing
the
that,
block.
like
Huh?
doing that, you can like I love the little like callbacks of like the kids like I can make this jump, and then he like pulls him down. He's like, yeah, sure you could, and then he like makes the jump to escape from the aliens, and then um like the I
The water
think
gun.
well that, but also like I was thinking of like the first car that was hit by that first alien, like ends up being that guy's dad's car that he was talking about. He's like, oh, I'll park it
Yes.
out front next, like
I
keeping
love
it
how he's
that can
freaking out.
yeah,
The police
like
are
keeping it that
everywhere.
contained, you can do those things and have callbacks because
And
like
there's humor to it. There,
right, exactly,
yeah.
and like because when it's so large scale, it's like just aliens start coming down, and then it's like okay, it's like, but those are like people's like cars, like like those
Specific
are
people.
people's
Yeah.
Makes it
houses
feel
that are
more
being
Yes.
affected by that,
very real.
right?
Yes. Well, and them
Yeah,
crashing into the other guy, then that heightens the stakes too. You're like, oh
right.
shoot,
You're like,
not
oh
him.
crap.
Like of all the people
Yeah,
you could have hit that your car with.
I know,
Yeah.
but then you're like, okay, at least he thinks you're a cop, and then he's like, wait, hold up, there's no cops, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh crap, how do you explain this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's this film is great. This is how they need to make movies.
Yeah.
Very well written.
I love the smoke scene. Like, I mean, I hated it for them. I'm just like, for why would you freaking create smoke? I'm like, you gotta at least hold on to each other to create a train. Because when the black kid was like, get off of me, I'm like, bro, I'd let anybody hold on to me. That way I can know that there's another human being next to me.
That's true.
And I love how the one kid got hit in the face. The guy was like, he got hit in the face by the bat. Because he just like had no idea what was coming out of there. And he's like, I'm swinging at anything.
Well, I
But yeah,
also
no
like
picture
creatures that have
me.
some weakness because sometimes they're either like invincible and it's like, okay, well, like
Yeah.
if they can take a couple punches and stuff, like I get it, but
Uh-huh.
but if shooting like 50 bullets, and then nothing's happening, you're like, oh, come on. Like,
Yeah, like I
um,
loved how he came out of the elevator with like just his gun and he like killed him, but then it fetched and killed his two homies with him. He's like,
yeah.
just tell he was so fed up with the freaking monsters.
I highly recommend this movie. I think it's great. I think more
Absolutely.
people should watch it. So hopefully we get the word out there. I don't think we'll be the ones to do it, but
Yeah, dude, John Boyega. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Stud.
definitely one of his better roles. Cameron, what have you seen lately and what are you looking forward to?
So last night after I watched Attack the Block, watched Also, Attack the Block. First time I watched it, gave it an 8 out of 10. Rewatching it, gave it a 9 out of 10. It's such a good film. Also, rewatched Ex Machina. First time I watched it, I was like a little underwhelmed because I'd watched Annihilation before it, and it was
Oh,
the
really?
same director, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fudge! Like just the eeriest feeling at the end scene with the mirror monster. Where if you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. That was like almost Zodiac level of eeriness. Like I almost had to like stop the movie and turn on the lights because I was like, I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
Like it is horrifying. And so at first Ex Machina, I was kind of like, I don't know. Like I still loved it. I gave it 8 the first time, but rewatching kind of with understood like expectations, like I loved it even more. I give it a 9 out of 10, and like, gosh dang, dude, Oscar Isaac's performance is amazing, and just the whole plot. It's just so interesting that like someone that smart would just feel so disconnected from humanity and essentially just like literally you're just here to be part of my experiment. Like, and he's like, I love like that creepy confession at the end where he's just like, yeah, because he's like hyping him up like, oh, I chose you because you're the smartest coder in the world, and then it gets to the truth moment. He's like, yeah, your code's good at best. I mean, even pretty good maybe. And he's like, but yeah, I just knew like that you were like, I chose you based on this or that. He's like, because I knew you'd be easily manipulated. And you're like, holy fudge, this dude's sociopath. So good.
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch.
totally. I mean, after that movie, I was like, I'm all in for Oscar Isaac. He is such a good actor.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I've been so impressed.
Have
But
you watched his movie with the Coen brothers where he plays music? I can't remember. Inside Llewyn Davis. Okay.
It's on my watch
Highly
list.
recommend. Yeah.
Okay.
It's my favorite of his performances.
I also want to watch more Alec Garland stuff. Sadly, Men was a
Hawk
flop.
Girl.
I've
What is
never
that?
seen it.
Oh, are you
No,
watching the cartoon?
Men.
Huh?
What? No, Alex Garland, the
Oh,
director.
it sounded like you said Hot Girl.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh, what the fudge?
I was like,
Weird.
are you watching more Justice League stuff?
No, but so then I also watched 12 Years a Slave. Man, that was a tough one to get through. It's great. I would give it 8 out of 10. It's just like for me, there's not enough like revenge. Like I need to see more like slave owners get killed, like in Django, because it's so satisfying. Like, oh, yeah, sucker, you sickos getting like killed. It's just hard seeing like so little justice come to these people that are just doing these horrific things, and I'm just like, ooh, yeah. It's a film that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe human beings used to actually do this. It's horrifying. But what's his name? Like Chiwetel Ejiofor or whatever. He does an amazing job. And then man, Michael Fassbender, who he is one scary mofo. I thought he was scary in Steve Jobs. Goodness gracious, him as a slave owner, man, that's one of the scariest things ever. And just the way, he's kind of like in that role, he's almost Homelander-esque, where he's just like you feel so uneasy every time he's on screen, and you're just like, you literally have no idea what he's gonna do. Because like he always get like really close, and he does like a caring like touch, and you're like, I don't like where this is going. And he's just like, it's like, are you an educated boy? And you're just like, no. Which one will give me less lashings? Like, oh, it's horrendous. But really cool. I love that there's like a song they sing in it, like Jordan, when Jordan rolls, or when Jordan runs. It's like they're talking about the River Jordan. And I mean, I love like black, like church music. Black people got some soul in them. I watched Rendition.
Cameron used to listen to that song "Work Work" when you'd be working.
Yeah.
Oh, work.
Also, like I used to listen to a lot of African music as a kid as well. The in my way, in my Silan, in my way, in my. And I watched Rendition, which is it's got Reese Witherspoon, Jake Gyllenhaal, Alan Arkin, And it's also got, what's his name? How am I forgetting his name? Mark.
Oh,
Oh, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. It's got J.K. Simmons. He's like very small role in it, but yeah, and Jake Gyllenhaal just didn't get a. I mean, he kind of played very like a monotone guy, so he didn't get to show like full range. The film was like, it was very slow. The piecing together was kind of cool. I mean, it just made me scared of our government, and just because it's essentially just about
Wait, what
the
movie
whole
is this?
plot. It's called Rendition. The whole plot is essentially like there's like a law that was passed after 9/11 that like the Secret Service can like
The Patriot Act,
essentially,
where like they can like
yeah,
spy
kind
and everything.
of, not only that, it's where they can capture somebody that's entering US soil, no questions asked, and then take them to like non-US soil to torture them and like try to get
Dang,
information if they believe it's a threat to security without a lawyer. And so
shoot.
it's insane. But it's so
wait,
like
how
it's so
many
depressing.
films do you have left? You probably are coming close to the last of this
Yeah,
couple.
I got October Sky. The what's the one, the
Brokeback
monkeys,
Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain, and then there's like the Velvet Buzzsaw.
Oh, that's right, Velvet. Yeah,
So
you got the last.
I know I got the bottom of the barrel left. I'm like, oh boy. And then I watched Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. Dude, so freaking
Can't wait to
fun.
review that one. So good.
That one was so good, and just the best ending ever. If you want to talk about a movie where like it's unjust and then he just full circle justices everything in the last 15 minutes, goodness gracious, it's amazing. Um, yeah, and then I just finished also Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 and 2.
Well, and Multiplicity, don't forget. Did you not rate it?
Oh, and oh yeah, well I've already rated it.
What did you do you keep it at what it was? What did you give it?
Let me see what I've ranked Multiplicity at.
And then how was Halloween Part 1 and 2? Were those good?
They're both really solid. I really like. Um, I've given Multiplicity a 7.
It's solid.
Maybe I might even give it an 8. I don't know, borderline. But
That's
I
good.
think you'll really like Part 1, Jordan. And Grant, I think you would even like it.
Because the Joker's in it, right?
Yeah.
I'll
So
definitely check it out. Yeah.
it's kind of, it's almost like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse-esque like graphics. So it's kind of, it's like a really cool style, and then it's essentially just like a different version of the Dark Knight plot, where like it's just like, especially so part 2 is just Harvey Dent going rogue and insane, and then in part 1 is just that like there's a murderer who murders on holidays, and called the Holiday Killer, and so you're trying to figure out who it is, and then like the Joker's also like heavily involved in it and just is like freaking wrecking, murdering people left and right, and there's a lot of death in it, and it's insane.
That sounds kind of cool.
Recommend, yeah. And then the only thing I'm looking forward to mainly, and then another trailer I saw that looked really interesting is The Fifth Estate. It's about the WikiLeaks, and it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh.
So that looks kind of interesting. And then
Is it
also
like
Drew
another
showed me,
imitation game kind of thing?
kind of, it's just about like the guy who's exposing like all the government stuff or whatever. It kind of reminds me of Snowden, it looks like.
Okay.
And then also, Jordan, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Pitch Black.
Yeah. Is that with Chris Hemsworth?
No,
Oh no, I'm
it's
thinking
with
of Black Hat. Sorry.
with Vin Diesel.
Oh
It's like a
yeah,
2000 film.
I like it. Yeah, it's good.
Drew loves it. It was Drew's first rated R movie, and so he recommended it to me and showed me the trailer. It looks kind of cheesy, but like really fun.
It's fun. Yes.
It kind
It
of
is
reminded me
that.
of Starship Troopers or whatever. That's what it kind of looked like.
Yes.
And it looked like kind of like a thriller, Starship Troopers, and I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. It's like a perfect B film.
Yeah. Looks fun.
And then they had 2 sequels after that. One of them is like a prequel. One of them is good. The other one's not. I can't remember which one it was. Pitch Black is probably the best out of the 3, though.
Okay.
And then Grant, what about you? What have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to?
I've only seen 3 movies besides Attack the Block. I watched. Well, so at least just put on Thor: Love and Thunder. So I was
Oh
like,
no.
oh, whatever, I'll just watch it with her. And
Did you
it's
watch
like,
for the first time?
so I had zero expectations, knowing that people hated it, and so I was like, so I enjoyed it because I had the lowest expectations possible. Because like I enjoyed the jokes; they were funny, but it's like it's not a rewatchable movie,
Yeah.
and like, and well, at
Did
least
you ever
I
get
just
sick of those hammer jokes? Holy.
I mean, well, because Elise and I talked afterwards about just like all the things that we like would have changed about the movie and like the jokes that we liked, things like that. And so like so I think it's like enjoyable, but it's not like super recommendable, you know? And because I just felt like uh Jane Foster's character was trying too much to be kind of like Thor. Like Thor's that like insecure, like kind of tries to joke about everything to like hide his own insecurities. And so she tried to do that, and it was just like, no, don't do that. Like if they would have made her more of a solid, like kind of an anchor for Thor, it would have been a lot more interesting um like movie to watch. And like and their relationship would have been a lot better, I feel like, because like I don't know if you want me to spoil it or not.
We both watched it.
Oh, okay, but yeah, so spoilers, but she
We watched
like
it in theaters,
dies.
bud.
Okay, yeah, well, so when she dies, like there was just no emotional weight to her death, you know? Like I was just like,
How
oh,
about all
Felt
those
more for
kids?
Christian Bale's daughter
Yeah.
dying in the beginning
yeah,
of the
like
movie than fetching half of the mofos in this movie.
for real. Because like, well, and two, like it's like Christian Bale's character choosing to bring back his daughter seemed like the dumbest choice in that scenario. Like he was watching that
Fuck.
girl die, and he's like, and I'm dying, so I'm gonna wish my daughter back to life so that I can be like, hey, you know those people over there? I've been fighting them the past couple hours, but like you should be raised by them. Like, wait, what? Like, because Elise and I talked about it would have been so much better if like either it was just like I want to see my daughter one last time, and then like they'll like disappear together or something, or like he would have seen that okay, not all gods are horrible people, and then like would have wished for Jane to be healed of her cancer or something, you know? Like I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot more reasonable kind of plot decisions that could have been done, but there's still funny parts. So, anyways,
But
and
yeah, Jordan, what
then
you were about to say about that with the kids getting
Oh, I was
powers
just
is
saying, what do you think
the
about the kids
dumbest
with
thing
the powers grant?
that would have been nice during fetching Infinity War or Endgame to just delegate all Thor's powers to every Wakanda soldier.
Well, the problem is there, and I've noticed this in the latest season of Rick and Morty. It's like they kind of take away all suspense, and it's like literally you can
like I get
anything
it.
now can happen. Anything.
Yeah, like I get it. You can't kill kids explicitly, like on screen, probably. But
Well,
it's like,
actually, did you see the new Halloween movie, Grant?
no.
Okay,
They
well,
murder a child on screen.
yeah, he falls off of the deck and he's it's
Dang, dude.
crazy.
But that's the thing. It's like
Halloween, man.
people. It's like, I mean, like the Marvel like superhero universe. Like you don't expect kids to die in movies, right? Because it's supposed to be like family friendly. And
Or
so
anyone.
I kind
except
of
for
wanted
bad
those
guy,
kids
bad
to
guy.
die.
I wanted them to get slaughtered.
Yeah, me too.
Especially Axel. That
Oh my
frickin'
gosh, please kill that boy.
is he the
disrespecting the
Heimdall's son?
yeah, disrespecting the name his father gave him. Heimdall's a bowler.
Yeah, I know. And he like he had no emotion either. He's like, we're all terrified. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
With the worst CGI ever. I'm like, how do the prequels have better CGI with their holograms than this ish? What the fudge?
Yeah.
George Lucas should have directed this, not Taika.
I know, I was so sad. I had way too high expectations because I thought Thor Ragnarok was great. I love Taika's movies. I have no qualms with any of them. I think they're all awesome and very funny. I mean, there's parts though, Grant, like you mentioned, that I was laughing at too.
Like Elise and I were laughing so hard when like they zoom out, like the ship going to the planet, and it just hits it. Like, I
Oh,
don't know.
that was totally the Rick and Morty sketch. You remember that?
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
where they're flying and then they hit one of the planets, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we're not going there."
That's funny. Yeah, there's just a lot of like unexpected stuff that like I said, doesn't make it rewatchable because you already expect those to come rewatching it, so it's not as
Yeah.
funny. But anyways, so and then I watched Tinder Swindler
Yes,
documentary.
yes.
That was crazy, dude.
Isn't the
Are your
craziest
enemies after you,
documentary?
Grant?
Wild. What?
Are your enemies after you?
My enemies, they're after me.
Send me
dude.
100K. I
I
what-
cannot believe he got $250,000 out of that girl. That is so insane.
Poor woman.
No, for real.
and they said he's up to like what, 4 million now? Probably
Something
more
like that,
now. And he's
His
with a new dumb
girlfriend-
model.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she has the IQ of a rock.
Well, dude, that's what just blows my mind. Like, and that's what's kind of ironic about this show coming out. I feel like it gives them unnecessary praise or like attention to these types of people. Like, obviously, it's like you want people to know so that they don't like put themselves in the situation. But like, I feel like there's dumb enough people to be like, I don't care if he does that. Like, I want kind of that fame attached to him.
Yes.
You know,
Oh yeah.
that
'Cause
just blows
he
my
literally
mind.
gives business advice, which he doesn't run a business. He's literally just cons people.
His,
For
his
real.
are you kidding me, Jordan? He does run a business. It's
That's
called
true.
dating women.
Yeah.
It's called Tinder. His business is Tinder, dude.
It's true. The son of a
Just run-
billionaire.
Yeah, he's just and then fetching when they creepily like take out his like CGI. Okay, I could so tell the
Photoshop.
pictures were Photoshop.
Yeah.
I'm like, anyone in their right mind would be like, that guy looks a little weird. But I guess
For
you just
what?
like if you look at the photo, like as soon as before I even knew
The family photos or what?
yeah, I was like, he looks
Uh-huh.
photoshopped. He doesn't look like he's actually in the foreground. And they're like, because he's like,
I know.
I'm
I know.
like,
That's funny.
even
like
my
he looks so out of place in this photo.
even my wife said that. She's like, that looks, because she didn't even know anything about the story. She's like, that looks kind of photoshopped.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
I didn't catch it. Well, actually, the first time I was kind of like listening to it in the background. So,
Oh,
and then I went back and
But yeah.
rewatched it. I'm like, this is amazing.
sanity.
Yeah, so that was wild, dude. Like, it's just crazy to think that stuff like that goes on, you know?
I am the homeless king, Grant. Dude, he has such an
Yeah.
interesting personality too. Like, I think that's what kind of makes it fun, is because like not only
He's
is it
got to
the
have
most,
bipolar.
Something,
Yeah.
dude.
yeah,
Like he does that attack and then he recedes like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I love you, I need you. Then it's like, you want to go to war, B?
You stupid bitch! I have people in high place. I could kill you. And you're like, what the fudge? That happened to you. Love me. Send me
And, like,
flowers.
And that was so funny, like seeing him at his lowest point, and like you said, like, I'm the homeless king. Oh my gosh, dude.
Pathetic.
well,
That's
I just
so
love on
funny.
top of all the craziness, he has a very interesting personality. Like, I just couldn't stop watching. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most interesting, crazy person.
Well, and what's crazy is like
I love
you
that
want-
he never admits to it. I love that he is so
It's true.
delusional or so committed that he's like, I literally
all my
have no idea
enemies,
what you're talking about.
they're putting this out there so that
What-
they're against me, you know.
Babe. Like the con never stops. Where I'm just like, man, through and through. You could be on your deathbed. He could be shot, and he'd be
Mhm.
like, my enemies are the ones that shot me. I'm like, who the
My
fudge are
enemies.
you, dude? This dude's the next Jared Leto, man. He could give Jared Leto a run for his money.
I know he sells T-shirts now that say "My enemies are after me," and it says "Send me 100K." I like want to buy one, but I don't want to support him because he's a horrible human
That's
being.
hilarious, though. Dang.
But it is so funny
Mhm.
because of how it's so
Well-
funny too when you tell people about it. They're like, "How could he have possibly?" Kevin
Right?
mentioned this last time. Like, how could he have possibly fooled them? Or like Manti Teo, like how could he fall for an imaginary girlfriend? You watch it, you're like,
and then you see it, and
oh.
you're like, okay, I understand.
yeah.
Yeah, he did it really well. It's like if you would have applied that same amount of effort and energy into doing a
To
job, like
I know.
it's like you'd be great at what you do.
Yeah, homie needs to be an entrepreneur and just run a Ponzi scheme and scheme on like people, and he would make millions of dollars.
Well, it's the same with like these criminals that do like amazing, crazy heists. You're like, with all that time and effort and like
Right?
ingenuity, like all the stuff you did, like
It's like
could
you
have
wouldn't
put
have
that.
to be on the run from the government.
I know,
So,
but he
What
learned
else?
to work the system. I mean, goodness gracious, and he jumps country to country. It's the wildest documentary, I
It's
think.
so smart to get him to put the card under their name, so he's technically never committing fraud.
right?
I'm
Yes.
just like, well played, brother.
Yeah.
Well played. What else, Grant?
And then yesterday, we watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because I haven't seen it in like
Classic.
10 years, dude.
The
Still holds
Child
up.
Snatcher.
It's such a good movie. Like,
It kept me up at night as a child.
yeah. Like my favorite, one of my favorite songs is the Posh song when he's like flying in his little hut in the blimp. It's so funny. And I had totally forgotten about the Roses of Success song when he has to like invent the car or whatever. Grow the roses, let's grow the roses. Oh, the roses of success. Yeah. Just a good classic movie. Brought back a lot of nostalgia. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, and that guy, how he enunciates when he sings, he's like, posh, posh, the trebly life, the trebly life.
Bobby. Yeah.
It's just
it's
like
so good.
so entertaining to watch him perform. Oh my goodness.
Kind
I
of
love
reminds me
too
of
how
like
he's like-
Fiddler on the Roof.
I love too. He's like, I'm off to Alaska, and he like goes into his little hut, and you're like, what the frick, dude?
Did I tell you my wife and I went and saw them perform that? It's so good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. They had the car on wires, so when it was flying, it was like lifted up
Right?
for everybody to see. It
sick.
was
That's
really
legit.
cool. Yeah,
Dang.
but they did sing Toot Sweet like double the speed. It was because they were running out of time, so they sang it twice as fast. It was really weird.
Toot sweet, toot sweet, toot sweet.
Yeah, Toot Sweet, Toot Sweet.
That's funny. But yeah,
Anything you're
that's
looking
all I've
forward to?
seen. Looking forward to. I still haven't seen all Quiet on the Western Front yet, and still want to watch.
Drew said he
13
watched the
Hours
first
again.
half of that and said it was good so far.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, the trailer looks crazy. Like, I just love that concept of like, people glorify war, but it's like it's just raw and horrible, So, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I've been looking forward to.
Okay, well, let me tell you what I've been watching. So I started the movie you guys recommended, Forgotten, halfway through that, I think. Hasn't
Yeah, you've
quite.
seen the best of it.
Oh, really? Oh, because it hasn't gripped me yet. Dang it. Very
Really?
interesting. It is interesting.
What part are you at right now?
So his brother was kidnapped, and then he came back, and then there's somebody in the other room that they aren't supposed to go into. So it's a very interesting premise. I don't know why I'm like not like, oh, I need to know what's in the closet. Oh, and that jump got me pretty good when the girl all of a sudden was like standing right next to him. And like the door opens, and then at the end of the hallway, and he looks, and he gets under his covers, and he's like afraid, and then he looks out,
Oh,
and he's
dude,
like,
yeah.
ah, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
there's
and
like a
she's
girl
like,
right there. That got me good. Yeah, it's good so far. I don't know why. I think I was just tired. I fell asleep, so I need to get back on that. And then I also watched Martin McDonagh's two of his films last week or 2 weeks ago with my wife, and then we watched his newest film, The Banshees of Inisherin, and he is the guy that did if you guys remember Seven Psychopaths.
3 billboards outside
Billboards
Ebbing,
outside
Missouri,
Missouri.
in Bruges.
Yeah, his newest film is so good. And I hope to talk more in depth about it. It does strike a little close to home because it's about like a friend like no longer wanting to be your friend. And it's like, I just feel like it's very real with all like dynamics of people's relationships. Like some people you want to see more often and some people you want to see less often. But this guy
Jordan,
kind of
I
like
feel like you're trying to say something. Just say it.
this guy cuts off all ties, and it's just very harsh.
Was that a pun and a hint?
Foreshadowing.
I very much love that film. I mean, it's his slowest movie out of all of the other three.
I'm surprised you liked it because for me, Maytime films that hit too close to home, I'm just like Kings of Summer.
I won't be watching
I'm like,
anytime soon.
I'm like, if I wanted to see someone who had a terrible relationship with their dad growing up, I could just look back at all my memories. I don't need to watch a movie about this shit.
Well, I mean, but it's so well written, and also like it's just fun to see it at the time period. It's kind of like an not Edgar Wright. Who's the other guy that does like The Northman? And
Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers. I don't know why I confused that name. But
Edgar
Robert
Eger.
Yeah. So he just does, time periods so like it immerses you so much in the film. Like this is what that film did. Like it was a perfect time period with the Irish having a civil war. And I mean, you don't really get to see the war. It's kind of going on in the background, but like the way they're dressed, the way they talk, it's so good. I'm a little worried if Cameron watches it, he's going to start pronouncing the F word how they pronounce it, because instead of a U, they pronounce it with an E, because it's
what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it because I'm not trying to say a bad word, but
Interesting.
It's just funny because their accent is just very fun. I mean, and it's an older, like, just
It's funny because like the British, and especially in like movies like Snatch, they say it with like almost like a double O. It's like FOOK.
Yeah, kind of exactly, kind of like how Brad Pitt talked. It's kind of like that a little bit, not quite as intense, but and then there was a few words I was like, I have no idea what this one guy was saying. So
did you get any of that? No.
And then so rewatching his other two films with my wife was so much fun. Like, I mean, all his films are so good. He is an amazing director, and I will watch everything he does. So that's 4 for 4. He has all home run hits.
Who?
And then Martin McDonough. Or how
what else has he done? Oh, is that the Three Evings?
Yeah, the one you just said, yeah.
Okay.
Have you watched that one yet? 3 Billboards?
No, me and Drew almost watched it last night, but we were like, I don't know if it's the vibe I want right now. The trailer looks really good though.
Yeah, Cameron, it's amazing. It actually, I mean, it's way better than even the trailer. Like, it's really good. Because when I saw the trailer, I'm like,
it kind of looked like Fargo.
Okay, that's actually a good comparison.
It just like reminds me of like that feel of like all the characters. Maybe it's just because of the lady from Fargo, but I'm just like, this has a very Fargo community feel where like everyone's too much in each other's business.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to watch it Sunday with everybody. We could just, watch it on VidAngel without all the F words. But it's so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, and then I already
get the poop out of the brownie, Jordan.
I already mentioned Maniac Cop 2, which I want to see the first one and the third one because I really, really enjoyed the second. And it's got Bruce Cameron from Army of Darkness. And,
I'm aware of who Bruce Campbell is.
And it's just like there was a scene where a guy was lit
Sam
on fire.
Raimi's favorite cameo.
Well, there was a scene the guy was lit on fire for a long time. I was actually concerned. I'm like, oh my gosh, because they have to hold their breath when they're lit on fire in real life. So I'm just like, dang.
Really?
So yeah, because you can't breathe in the smoke or the flames,
Oh wow.
So they're holding their breath when they're running around. I wonder if they had like hidden like a gas tank like an oxygen tank for him or something, because he was lit for so long. But I don't know. It was an amazing stunt. He was running around like lighting other people on fire in prison. He was like fighting them. It was so cool. And then there was this one scene where this girl gets handcuffed to the steering wheel and it's flying, and he puts the car in drive and just lets it go down the street. And so she's like smashing into cars and she's like riding and hanging on the side of the car. It's like all like actual stunts. Amazing stunts. It's really freaky and really cool.
That's wild.
And they had a lot of that. And it's just funny because every time kind of reminded me of what's the Michael Bay one we watched just recently with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Ambulance.
Every time somebody got shot, it was like they were on like a pulley or a wire, and they would get like thrown and fly
Yanked
back.
back.
Yes. And
That's
then
so funny.
it had like a similar
Dang.
shootout like in the end of Terminator or Jeepers Creepers, and like he just comes in and starts mowing down all the police. It was crazy.
So funny.
So other than that, yeah, I think
We're
that
looking
about
forward to.
I'm gonna finish Forgotten, and I'm gonna also watch the Halloween Part 1 that you mentioned. I also
Oh, Batman.
yeah, and I also started Friday the 13th Part 9, and I've already
There's 9.
there's 12. So
Oh my God.
And-
Can you say beating a dead horse?
oh yeah, number 10 is it literally takes place in space. It's amazing.
Oh
It's
my
so funny. So
What?
part 9 is kind of like the director is like, okay, this is 9 films, so clearly let's have fun with it. So there's a scene where Jason like looks at the screen just like 007, and he like slashes, and it like just like, you know, he like comes and shoots, and there's like a circle. Anyways, they're totally parodying it and just being silly. So
it's really Scary Movie 6.
yeah, it's kind of I'd say it's more like Victor Crowley, because while it still is making a slasher flick, it's also funny, which reminds me, and I'm getting excited about I just pre-ordered, and it comes out in 2 days. Wait, no, today's Wednesday. It comes out tomorrow. Is Terrifier 2. Oh yes.
I knew you were gonna say that. You
Yeah,
psychopath.
which we should have watched together, but that's okay. Maybe we'll talk about it on the pod.
Jordan will just hold it over our heads until the day we die.
You guys have anything else?
Nope.
The McRib is back.
Mm.
That's it.
McRib is
Nacho
Drake's
Fries are back
album
at
just
Taco
dropped.
Bell.
Yeah,
Nacho-
and nacho fries are back, dude. Let's
Yeah,
go.
finally. Why are all the things I love like only seasonal? I'm like, what the heck?
I know, I hate that.
Peace.
Good things never last. Peace.